Yep. So Haley and Madison are both journalists, and they work at a television station in Duluth, Minnesota, which is right across the river, right across the border from Superior, Wisconsin. And they are going to tell us about their work life and show us a bit around the studio of KBJR up in Duluth, which happens to be where I'm living right now, too. So I'm excited to see what they have to share. So take it away, please.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Madison. I am a news reporter. I started about 9 months ago in July. And so I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so a little bit farther away from home. But I got the job after I graduated from college in May of 2023, and I accepted and I moved out to Duluth, and it's been great. So I guess as a news reporter, if you've ever seen the news, the person that is in the field that the anchor will toss to, or covering whatever the story of the day is. So not at the desk. That's what I do. So my assignment changes every single day. I don't know really what I'm doing usually until I show up to work the day of. So I got my assignment for today at around 9:30 this morning. And so I've been working on that before this, and then I'll go back to it. And usually in the day, I have to have some sort of content, some sort of video form for our 4 o'clock shows, our 5 o'clock shows, and our 6 o'clock shows. So it's a quick turnaround. Usually every day is different, which is what I like. And there's always a deadline. So you got to make it, you got to meet it. It's a little stressful sometimes, but that's the kind of job I want. So I'm liking it a lot so far.
And then I'm Haley. I'm the digital content producer here. So I went to UMD, so that's the college in Duluth. I graduated with my marketing degree, and that's in the business school there. And then I got a job here right after graduation. I've been here for over a year now, and I write all of the web stories. So if you see anything online, I probably wrote it. So any stories that come across. So Madison will do her stories throughout the day, but then I do kind of the smaller ones. So if there's anything going on in the community or something needs to be sent out right away, that's something that I'll do. I run all the social media. I'll do all the stuff that's on the website, do the app, all those kinds of things. So if it's digital, it's probably something that I'm doing. So
Yeah, we definitely wear plenty of hats here at the station. Sometimes I'll fill in for if an anchor's out over the weekend. I've done the weekend shows, and I've done the morning show, which is a 2 hour marathon during the weekday. Done it by myself. It's a lot of talking. But it's fun and it's cool. And again, it's just nice to like you interact with something different every single day. You learn something new every single day. And right now we're actually in our studio. So again, I don't usually sit at the desk, but this is the little studio behind us, the setup. And I guess we can start here for a little tour of where we work. So the anchors, so usually each show will have one or two anchors, and you'll see them at the desk, right? So they sit on this chair a little high up. They can adjust it to their own height. And there are several cameras facing me right now, if you can see those. And so they'll look to the different ones. They're cued so they know which one to look at depending on what they're reading. And that's all pre-programmed before the show starts. So they do know what they're doing a little bit. And then right below me, show this, there is the teleprompter. So the teleprompter is basically, let me move this, is kind of like a little pedal that you can push, like you're driving a car, if you've driven a car or anything. So you can push this and it changes the speed that the words flow down the teleprompter. So you can adjust it to your speed that you're talking to. You can stop and back it up if you need to. And yeah, so they can control it. Some stations, they have someone whose job is solely to control the teleprompter, but we do not have that. And I like that because you can, again, just control your own speed and be able to do it for yourself. And then if Haley wants to go towards the teleprompter, I can show you what it looks like. So we have some sort of script lined up here. And now I'm just pushing it down so it goes down into what the script says. Let's see. Maybe there's not much going on right now. Okay, so there's not that much of a script, but yeah, so the anchor will read this at whatever pace they need to in order to make it make sense for them and be able to clearly communicate it to the audience. So yeah, that's the teleprompter. And then we maybe just saw a little glimpse of him, maybe not, but we just had one of our weathermen in here for the show, and this is where they stand. So that's behind them. And then they'll stand here in this little pod sort of situation. Ooh, first light. And they can read off these screens in front of them. They'll have their graphics pulled up. So they make them throughout the day as they're tracking the weather. And if you ever see like the 7-day forecast and any animations, or if you ever see for a holiday, they'll have like a turkey pop up on Thanksgiving or anything fun like that. They can control that. They make them themselves and they know how to read off of that. Yeah, and then we can go this way. So again, this is the weathermen, but this is the green screen. So if you ever see them talking and with a whole map behind them, what they see right now is actually just a giant green wall. But in front of them or to the right is where it would show and display the graphic that they made. So a little secret, if you ever see them looking to the right, they're probably looking at the graphic to give them a little bit of a standing as to what they are talking about. It's very difficult. I have tried because the camera that Hayelye just showed you in front of you actually flips the image. So if you step to the right, you're seeing yourself step to the left, and it gets really confusing. So it is a very hard job. I can give them a lot of props for that. And we will continue to walk through our studio. And so connected to the studio is where the producers and the directors sit during the show. So this is where they control it. This is the control room. There are a lot of colorful buttons and a lot of screens that they have to monitor. And if you can look over here, if you see the camera 4 and the camera 3, that's where the weathermen stand, right where we just showed you. So again, they can see everything. They're able to queue up the different shots as the show goes on. Again, they programmed it and they know what's coming up next. They know what buttons to push. I don't know what buttons to push. There are a lot of them, but they are also in constant communication where with the anchors and anyone in the studio. And they can see them if they need to, but they wear headsets, so it's a little easier to hear everything clearly. And they get any cues for timing, more if they need to speak slower or faster, just to make sure, the entire show fits in the half hour that we're slotted. And so we'll continue through this way. This is more space for the directors. There's one of them now. Let's just wait. That is Simon. And we're just walking through engineering right now. So we're actually going to go into the newsroom. Oh, we have our weather dog here. So we're going to go into the newsroom where technically all of our offices and desks are, and where we sit and meet for the day. So we have a few people here now, and they're working, but this is the office. And then right at this table over here is where we have that morning meeting I was saying earlier, where we all find out our assignments for the day. And then everyone kind of separates and gets on their assignment and gets on their way. And then back here, so there are a few jackets and coats that some people, anchors, will keep here just so it's more convenient. You don't have to bring in a whole suit jacket every single day, right? But someone like me, I don't know what I'm doing when I walk in. So I just kind of dress for the day before I leave the house. I typically stick with, pants, shirt, and sneakers just in case, because I have tried to wear nice clothes out and then been in the mud all day. So that has not worked out for me. So I'm going to sticking with sneakers. And right now we have a dog here who does not want to say hi. And we can go back into the studio. That was one of our assignment editors. So Ben, there's a lot of moving parts in the newsroom. So Ben helps set up the stories for the day, helps tell reporters like me what we're doing, and he'll try and set up interviews for us so it's easier again to meet that deadline that I was talking about, because can't miss deadline. Then we'll go this way, down the hallway. And we'll go into the audio booth really quickly. which is right over here. And so the audio booth, if you see these kind of foam pads on the wall, they're here to make it so all the noise stays within here and it's a very clear sound because you use this microphone to record. And the recordings are either for radio, we do live radio out of here, or any voiceover track that you need for a story. So the stories that I'll usually put together are voiceovers. So I write the script beforehand, we edit the video afterwards, but I will record in here to lay the track over the video. And then we will head back into the studio. I do see there are a few questions rolling in. We can address those soon. And we are back. Oh, so see, one of our meteorologists came in that time we were gone and is already starting to work on his graphics for today. And yeah, and so we'll probably be using them for the 5 and 6, but yeah, in the meantime, I guess we are back here. If anybody has questions, should we just read from the chat or how?
I'll go through and read the questions out loud,
Okay.
so that because it's hard for the students to read the chat in there, but if you see something you really want answered, you can do that. One of the early questions was, is that what we're seeing behind you a real window or is it a screen?
This is a screen actually. So we have a bunch of live cameras around the city and around different parts of our coverage area, which, you know, goes all the way into Wisconsin, even Michigan, that we have access to and are allowed to use. So sometimes if there's something cool, like if the weather there is crazier, say there's snow somewhere and not here in the city, or if the waves on Lake Superior are really big, they'll choose a camera that kind of shows something unique in the coverage area to just put behind them and let viewers take a look at as well.
Cool. There's a lot of questions about like being nervous and making mistakes. So the first one is, do you ever get nervous before getting on air?
Yes. So you're not always live, which is nice, right? So a lot of times you can re-record if you need to, but I mean, even sometimes even if I know it's not live, but the camera's turned on me, all of a sudden start stuttering and have no idea what I'm saying, even though I know what I'm saying. So I absolutely do get nervous. I will say, I think I know the first time I went live, I don't remember what happened. I genuinely think I just disconnected. I was told it went really well, but yeah, and it gets easier as you do more, but the nerves are always there.
So I have a guess of what your answer is going to be, but have you ever messed up your lines on live camera? And if you did, what did you do to recover?
Yeah. Oh, I've definitely. Sometimes I've said, I don't even know, definitely stuttered or said the wrong word completely or mixed two words together. And I always think it's just better to kind of acknowledge it. I always just say, oh, excuse me, and then say the correct word, you know? And then you just keep going on with it because it's a mistake that the viewers might not even notice, but for you, it seems bigger than it is.
All right. How much practice does it take, asks Mrs. Mish's 5th grade, to not make any mistakes?
Once I find out, I'll let you know. But I think that just happens throughout your entire career. You're always going to make mistakes, and
you get used to it, huh?
Yeah, you get used to it. You learn how to adjust to it, and keep trying.
You mean nobody's perfect?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is an important thing because this is probably a skill you worked on all the way from elementary school and still have to think about. What happens if you're running late for your job?
If you're running late for your job,
it's kind of like running late for school. Like,
yeah,
that's
just I should really try not to. I mean, it happens.
In emergencies, it happens.
In emergencies, it happens, and that's always inevitable, right? But I think for the better part, trying not to be late, doing whatever you can. I know, again, sometimes even if traffic is a factor that you don't anticipate, you can't really help that. For, again, our job, it's a little easier sometimes depending. I might have a later story. So coming in right at that 9 o'clock isn't necessarily in that 9 to 9:30 window isn't necessarily the always, I guess, necessary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have
just like open communication too.
Yeah,
about like if you are running behind, you just make sure you always tell somebody what's going on. just so they know that you are still coming, but don't make it happen all the time.
Yeah, don't let it be a habit.
We have a couple of related questions, like what it takes to prepare for a job in your career. How long did it take you to complete college?
So I went to the University of Notre Dame and I graduated in 4 years.
Okay.
I went to a community college during high school, so I actually graduated college before high school. So I technically had 2 years before I went to college, and then I finished in 3.5 years.
Okay, excellent. Do you have to have good writing skills for your job?
I would say yes. Just even just the foundation of, I guess, knowing what proper grammar is even honestly just the best place to start because television writing and web writing, even what we write on a daily basis, are two very different things. So I was taught a lot when I got here in this position about how to write a script for television because it's more conversational than a paper you might submit in school, which is nice, but it's just different and you learn it as it goes on. So that's a skill that develops. That I think I developed after school, even. But having the foundation of writing school papers and just all of that has definitely helped.
The third grade in Milton is asking, so we talked about writing. Do you also have to be good at math for your job?
Sometimes you do have to do some math.
Yeah.
It depends. It does depend. So sometimes I'll have to do math on how old someone is. So I'll get what year they were born, and then I'll do some math with that. Sometimes the reporters will do big stories and say they'll compare like house prices. They'll say it's changed from this much to this much in this amount of years. So it's not hard math, but it's math that you have to make sure that is accurate. Otherwise, we're not giving the right information, which is super important that we need to make sure we're doing that.
And it sounds like when you're doing an interview, you're probably doing some mental math too, where you're doing a percentage or a subtraction really quickly in your minds as well. Good job.
Definitely.
Well, while we're talking about numbers, Brilliant Elementary asked, what is a typical salary for a multimedia journalist?
So I make $18 an hour. I think it's to start. So this is my first job. It's not as I think people think that being on TV, you make a high amount of money. It's not always that career. A lot of the reward is just kind of, doing your job and telling the stories of the people that you're telling. So it's not always about the money with this industry. You definitely can work your way up. It depends on where you want to go, which way you want to take it. But a starting salary is around where I'm at, around $18 an hour.
And you can grow, like say you want to move to New York City, you'll probably get paid more there just because there's a lot more people in a small area. So since we have a large area, but like spread out people, our coverage area isn't like that big or populated. So if you move to like a big city, then you'll be getting it out more, and you get what I'm saying.
Well, moving away from money, but still thinking about your jobs, fifth graders in Ashland ask, what is your favorite part of the job and what is your hardest part of your job?
Oof. You want to go first?
Yeah. So my favorite part of the job is all my coworkers. So we have so much fun all the time. Everyone here is super nice and friendly, which is super important because then you know when you're coming to work that you're able to do everything and everybody's always willing to help. The hardest part of the job is when there's breaking news because I need to write something in 5 minutes and it needs to be up on our social medias, on the website. So it can get stressful, especially when you don't have a lot of information on things that are going on. And the public really wants to know that information, but I also don't know it. So that can be the one hard thing, is doing things really fast.
I would say my favorite part of the job, besides my coworkers, which I do all love, is going out. I get to meet so many different people every single day. And even after the camera's off, the interview is completely over. Technically, that part of my job is for the day is done. I find myself standing there and just talking to people for an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes until I'm like, okay, I have to keep going. I still have everything else. I still have to write, I still have to record, I have to do all of that. But it is really nice. You get to meet so many interesting people that you probably never would have. You get to do a bunch of fun things. I've done stories. I've done, for some reason, I think 3 ride-alongs at this point. So like in the back of a cop car or on a fire truck. So fun. I've gone on a boat on Lake Superior for a story. I don't know. Just a lot of fun things that I never thought I'd get to do. And then I'm like, I get paid to do this. I feel like we have a saying, it's like we get paid to do the things people pay for. And so that's always fun.
That
And
sounds
then,
awesome.
oh, it's the best. And then the hardest part, I would say, can sometimes, again, just be meeting those deadlines. I might have, it might be 2:30 and I don't have a second interview that I need for a story. And it's kind of sometimes just like, well, you still got to find one and I still need something for 4 o'clock. And okay, it's my job. I guess I have to do it. So it can get stressful that like that. But again, since my job in my mind changes every single day, that stress, it's like, okay, stressed out. And then 6 o'clock will hit and done. And I got everything in and it's very satisfying. So
That's
even the
great.
hardest part has like a great relief.
The kind of related to things not, maybe you think you're gonna have a story and then there isn't. What happens if you're sick on a day where you're supposed to work?
That's
After,
okay.
yeah.
That's definitely okay. I mean, everyone gets sick. You don't want to try and push through an illness just to make the job. You have time off if you need it, to take your time to be sick. So it's, yeah,
All right.
don't, if you're sick, you're sick. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
Mrs. Mish's class asked, how does a meteorologist predict weather? Do you know, or is that something you would have to ask the meteorologist?
I think it involves a lot of math.
That one I was going to
That's
say,
where
that
it's gonna
job
be
has
math.
math and science, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
They'll look at the maps and these models and do a lot of math, and
Mhm.
then they'll predict it. Sometimes the models can be different, so they look at a few different models throughout the day. And then basically, I think they just compare the two. Maybe.
So that is, you do have to go to school specifically to be a meteorologist if that's what you want to do. You
Okay.
don't, again, so you don't necessarily have to go to journalism school if you want to be a reporter, but I'm pretty sure you have to study meteorology to be a
The kind of
meteorologist.
a related question. So if you want to be a meteorologist, you have to do different or additional education. One of the classes asked, did either of you have mentorships or apprenticeship opportunities that help guide you into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I worked since I kind of decided, which was about end of freshman year of college or um, beginning of sophomore year, what I wanted to do. I worked at a radio station, so not even like on camera. I've done a media company because in my mind, the storytelling aspect of it is it's all related. And then my senior year of college, I was able to work for NBC Sports for all of the Notre Dame home football games as like an assistant sideline producer. So that was probably where my biggest one that I had throughout the years. And that one was a lot of fun. So yeah, there are definitely a bunch of opportunities out there. And again, that don't even all necessarily have to relate exact. Like I was never on camera, never the one writing all of those stories for any of those jobs, but there's so many other opportunities out there that will help to get you if you want to be a multimedia journalist, where you are and develop those skills.
And how about you, Haley?
So I never thought I was gonna be in news. Since I went to business school, I that's why I'm behind the scenes. So you won't see me on camera just because I'm not a journalist. So I do all the background stuff, but I did do an internship with Anytime Fitness while I was in college, and I got to do a bunch of marketing for them. So I made a bunch of their creative, so flyers or social media posts, all that type of stuff. I did that for a semester throughout college.
We've had a couple of classes ask, what are your work hours or how many hours do you work in a day?
So we actually have the normal shift. So we both work technically 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. technically. And so, but there are some people in the station who have the morning shift. But I actually, okay, so first I actually just started Monday through Friday. I was originally Sunday through Thursday. Before that, I was Tuesday through Saturday. So I've worked all the days of the week at this point in my job. But we have people that come in the morning. So they'll start at 2 a.m. and they'll leave by 10 a.m. Or we have the night crew who starts at 2:30 p.m. and they'll leave at 10:30 afterwards p.m., 11 p.m. And you work an 8-hour shift, but sometimes you work a little more because you can't really control what time the news comes, right? So you just kind of have to react to it. And if you're needed to stay, then you stay, you do what you have to do.
We're getting close to the end of our time here, but this has a couple of people who look like they're interested in having me ask it, coming from a fifth grade class. Have you ever done something embarrassing when you thought you were off air, but you actually weren't? The bloopers that we get to see.
We actually, it's funny that you say that. We have a station like blooper.
Yeah, so at the end of the year, we all get together and we watch all the bloopers throughout the year. So every time somebody has messed up on camera, made us giggle a little bit, we'll put it into a big video and we'll just sit down and watch it together. So we can kind of just laugh at ourselves and joke around with it, because at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal that you just messed up a little bit. So yeah, it's fun.
So to answer your question, yeah, we definitely have had our bloopers on TV.
Yeah.
And again, in the moment, in your mind, it might seem bigger than the audience even notices. But I will say, definitely watching it at one blooper after the other is very, very funny. So yes, we have all had our bloopers, and we probably all will continue to.
I think that's part of life. Going back to nobody is perfect, right? Is there a dog there? Somebody asked about a dog.
Yeah, there is a dog.
There was an interest in seeing the dog. We've had a veterinarian and a farmer, and there's a request for a dog. So apparently we have an animal themed day today. I don't know how this class.
Is Cosmo. This is Cosmo. He's one of our meteorologist dogs.
Okay.
Every Thursday.
Yeah, and he hangs out in the station, in the studio.
Okay, I don't know how this class knew that, but good job feeling out that we had a pet on site. It's cool to work at a place where there are pets.
Yeah,
yep. We have a question. Have you ever met anyone famous?
Anyone famous? I don't know if I have through this job. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have. Yeah.
It depends on your level of famous, I would say. Because we haven't met like any like very famous like musicians or movie stars or anything like that, but we've met like local celebrities. I work a lot with the UMD sports team, so if those are celebrities to you guys, then I've met them. We have a celebrity that works with us. He has his own band.
Yes.
So
he's here right now.
Yeah.
He gets very recognized. He is a celebrity.
Okay, and I think we'll wrap up with this last question here for each of you. What is the strangest story you have ever covered?
After you. I think.
I would have to think.
Oh my.
I know that there was like a fire. This man started his own house on fire. And then when the fire trucks and the firefighters showed up, he was blaring the song "We Didn't Start the Fire." So it was just a little chuckle, but don't start your house on fire. But yeah, that was funny to read.
Yes. I would have to say I really can't think. There's so many stories that just happen over time. But recently I covered this tiny little art gallery. It was really cute. and it was in some woman's front lawn, and basically like people would take some art, leave some art. And then like the next week it it got hit by a branch and broke, and it was really sad, but it was just really bad timing. But then we did a follow-up. Someone volunteered to fix it. So and
Nice.
put it back up for her. So it was nice. But I was just like, what are the odds of that timing?
Yeah.
Really
And
sad.
it just happened too, about a couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
when we had all that wind. So,
Yes.
We've had so much wind up here. Absolutely. It's
So
been
much
bananas.
Mhm.
Well,
Oh,
thank you
yes.
both so much for your time, for your dedication to bringing, local stories, because local news matters. And we really appreciate that you've shared what your journey has been and answered questions from our students. I'm going to save the chat and email it to you. So
Thank
if you
you.
find the time and there are questions we didn't get a chance to answer and you'd like to answer them, we'll get them back to our students. And we really
Sounds great.
appreciate your time. We have the thank yous just pouring in the chat here.
Oh,
They're
guys
grateful
are
for
welcome.
the time you took.
Thanks for
So,
having
thanks
us.
so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for having us. Thanks for letting us share.
Thank you so much for coming, you guys.
Thank
course.
If you
Thank
listen
you.
in, you'll hear some thank yous coming in from the classrooms.
Thank
Oh,
thank
that was
you.
cute. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh
You
God.
guys were loud.
Thank you guys for having us. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.